Today we are still at the show. We are at the Boone,
New York State Woodman Fields Days.
Woodman Field, and I'm with Matt, and he is with Timberwolf. There it is. And he has a brand new machine, and this is it right behind us. This is your Pro LP, correct?
Yes, sir.
And this is like the first one.
We finished this on Wednesday night, just this past week. So
yeah. And it's kind of one of those things that everybody's been wanting to see, because we were just talking earlier that there's a market for guys that don't want a big professional processor where they're going to spend a couple $100 grand, and they want something for that $25,000–$30,000 range, which is where this is going to fall, somewhere in there, right?
Yeah, right in that ballpark there for, pretty heavy machine, but quality build, affordable price. What we kind of went through with it.
Right, yeah, because you kind of figure out where the market is, and that's where you got to go.
Yeah.
And if guys are asking all the time, do you have anything in that range or that cost or that size, and you hear it over and over and over, it's time, isn't it?
Yeah, eventually you got to do something.
You got to do something about it, yeah. So tell me a little bit about, what does it weigh?
Without the conveyor, it's 3,200 pounds. With the conveyor, it's 3,700 pounds.
So very towable with any half-ton.
Yep, half-ton truck. It's got a torsion bar suspension, full electric brake system, lights, breakaway, road legal. So tow's really nice.
And your hydraulic tank is in the beam, just like a lot of the Timberwolf stuff, right?
32 gallons in the beam, lots of surface air ratio, so it stays nice and cool without a cooler.
And then what do you got here?
That's 7 gallons of bar oil.
That's what I thought, okay.
And then 5 gallons of gasoline. And
then you got a Honda engine.
GX 700 22 horse Honda engine.
22 horse, okay. Now is that going to be the only one, standard one, or are you going to offer any other options?
Right now, this is the first one we're bringing out. We're going to have a 14 horse single cylinder version available down the road, but it's not quite done yet. So.
Okay. And the infeed you load over here, now that you can lift the log with, correct?
Yeah, this log lift, it'll lift 1,500 pounds. So if you don't have a tractor way to load it, you can roll the blocks onto it, lift it right up, and then it'll hit the infeed chain, or you can have it up and it'll hold 4,000 pounds. So if you do have a tractor, you can pre-stage the deck and then roll one in at a time.
Right. Are you going to ever have any kind of a leg drop on it so you can use it like a live deck? You have a leg that drops down from pin swivel?
Yeah, there is going to be a one-up, we're going to call it the XL version, kind of like all of our machines. And that'll have an actual live deck. It'll be 4 feet longer. And it'll have a hydraulic cylinder on the clamp. This clamp here is just pure gravity to keep it kind of simple. At that price point, we had to, simplify some things on it.
Right, that's a lot of, it's hard to please everybody, and as a manufacturer, I'm sure you know this, I hear it all the time for any machines I show. I call it the you shoulders. You should do this, you should do that, you should add this, how come it doesn't have that? Everything you do affects the price, everything you do affects the assembly and the production time, so you got to look at it cost effective, what's the price point that people are going to want it, and then go from there, because you can't please everybody.
Every little thing, $100 here, $100 there. Next thing you know, it's 10,000 more. So.
yeah, and I've seen machines like that where they say, "Hey, we're coming out with a $50,000 machine," and all of a sudden it's 80, 90, 100. It's like, well, you kind of missed it.
Yeah, and we did the same thing 2 years ago. We came up with our MP, and we were going to hit it at $30,000. And I wanted this, I wanted that, and I was getting carried away with it. Next thing you know, it's $55,000.
Well, and as a manufacturer, you want a good product.
Yeah.
But not everybody is in that point.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of machinery creep. Everything just gets a little
cooler. I just bought a new truck, and it's easy to spend $100 grand on a truck. I got a brand new 3/4 ton for under 60, which is not usual.
Yeah,
so same cost as a half ton, but it does what I need it to do. So yeah. It's good to have a variety of market space where we can put your product. So let's go over to the controls and we'll look at that. So this roller system here, you obviously got these teeth.
Yeah, this is actually just right off of our big full-size Pro HD Pro MP roller. So it's a really heavy-duty chain, and that allows you to have a long log hanging over the back and really helps it feed right in.
So what can you comfortably put on here? You see you got, some of these here are probably, 15 footers, 16 footers?
Yeah, those are about 16, 17 at the most. We rated at 12 feet.
Right.
If you put the butts to the front, you can do 14, 16 feet if you're careful.
Yeah, and I suppose if a guy was creative, he could always put a little roller stand, a horse with a roller or something out here. But yeah, most guys, well, in our part of the country, it's all 100-inch stuff. Great Lakes area, so
Yeah.
it's all 100-inch, which this would be very adequate. The post up here, is that for locking this in when you
Nope.
tip it up, or is
Actually,
that
this
just
is super simple here to go down the road. All you got to do is you lift this up here,
okay?
and you're
That's
done.
it.
Gravity
Got
holds
it.
it in place. That's
Got
just if you have a big log rolling.
Keep the
you don't
engine
wanna
from
jump
getting
it over.
crushed.
Exactly.
Got
yeah.
it. Yep, that's kind of what I thought. Go ahead and drop
These
that.
down here. Yes.
I see you got double jacks in front here, so you can level it off pretty good, stability-wise.
Yeah, it's real stable, and then the other big flat feet on those jacks. If you don't get the conveyor, not everybody needs the conveyor. You know.
Yeah.
First off, it's one more thing to break. Second off, it's more money. It's I call it windrows itself. So the machine with those big
Right.
jacks and the way the weight is balanced, you just keep going off, and the machine will actually start walking back. And you'll
That's
get
what I
about
do
a
with my
4
little
foot
splitters. I just put it and let it walk.
Yeah.
Just let it slide. If you
Yeah.
position your wood right, like you say, windrows, it's easy. You don't have to even touch it. Just let it fall. So obviously you got all your plumbing running from over here. What do you got for a cylinder on here?
That's a
Ram.
17-ton 4-inch cylinder. Actually, we make that ourselves, and it's got a regen valve on it, which we also make ourselves. So that gives it a kind of a high-low setting on it. It's going to
Got
go fast up to about 1,000 psi, and then it'll downshift if it needs to really, bust through a big log.
Nice. And you got the fenders and lights are all
Yeah, DOT legal lights,
Yep.
full brake kit, 70 gallon per minute filter there, 15 micron. All returns here, and then the suction's there, and
Mm-hmm.
that big long tank. What we get is really good circulation, so you're getting
Sure.
really good cooling in the tank.
So you really don't need to have a fan or anything on a unit this size. You got enough beam here, enough space that it can cool.
Yeah, it's
pretty
basically
good.
its own radiator in
Right,
the tank.
right.
We tested it, especially this summer. It's easy to test. We were hitting 100 degrees in Marathon, which is
Yeah.
crazy. You can run it 8 hours with a guy feeding you, and you're going to hit about 150 in the tank. And
It's not bad at
hydraulics.
all, yeah.
If you stay under 180, you're safe with
Yep,
hydraulics.
yeah. I always get nervous if I ever see one up around 160, 170. It's getting there. Let it cool out. Usually I'm too hot. That's the problem.
Right. Yeah.
So what do you got here for controls?
All right. So control station here, all very simple. It's kind of our concept with Timberwolf is, we don't have a lot of fancy hydraulics on it. Just you can trace that line, you know what it's doing. It's not going to big mystery blocks. And then on these controls, these are Prince valves, pretty standard. You can get them anywhere. So if you ever need to replace them, very easy to replace. You've got saw motor here, so that turns on your motor, 18 gallons per minute.
Yep.
You got your wedge lift, so you got 8 inches of travel. We got a 4-way in this machine. You can do a 6-way and an 8-way.
Yep.
And then your deck lift here, so that'll
Got
lift
it.
that deck up. So
Got
that's
it.
on these valves here. Over here, your feed trough, so that's going to bring your log forward,
Yep.
and then you can reverse it if you go too far. We got a pretty simple length control system. Bar here, you can put it
That's
here.
the fastest changing one I've seen of those. Usually you got to undo nuts and bolts and things. So yeah, that's
And
simple.
you can either run here. I like to actually run it out this way,
Just eye it up.
and you just eyeball it, and
Exactly,
you're not touching it all the time, but whatever you prefer.
Yeah.
And then on the last block, we've got this measuring device here,
Uh-huh.
so you cut your short chunk in the front, and then you line up. If you're doing 16s,
Yep.
it's there, 12s, it's there, etc. So
Pretty simple. Yep. Simple is always the answer, I think. And why did you decide to go with? You looks like you got about an 8-inch width there on your splitting chamber. Looks like, is that what that is?
yeah, that here, this here, that's 4.5 inches there. So even on a small block, it's guiding into the center pretty good.
Yep.
Our chamber is pretty well designed, so if you're getting into that smaller wood,
Yeah.
instead of splitting every one, you line up your 4-way. So you split 2 here, 2 here, so you can actually get 4 in the chamber at
Sure.
a time, hit it one time. Pretty easy access for resplits, if you're trying to make really nice,
And
bundled
that
firewood.
is a key. A lot of guys, well, a lot of machines, you can't get to the chamber.
Yeah,
you're,
so
you're
you
a
can
hostage up on a chair,
step
or
here.
you can't get at it.
We purposely built this. This is heavy, so you can put one in the chamber to resplit and store one up here, and then just toss it
And
in.
if you got auto cycle, you can grab your second one while the other one's working and let it rock and roll.
And standard auto cycle on this machine, that's these 2 valves here. They'll pop out.
Nice. How long is this? 10 foot?
That's a 10-foot conveyor. So it has a 16-inch wide paddle belt, hydraulic top drive, conical roller, so it tracks real nice. You don't have to constantly monkey
So
with the
do you
tracking
run
on it.
belts like this on any other machines as far as, is this
Pretty much all the conveyors we build are belt drive. We build pretty big conveyors all the way up to 40 foot. That's a 24-footer there.
And generally, what does a guy get for life out of a belt, and what's the replacement? I've heard that asked quite a few times.
Yeah, the belts, we do a 2-ply belt, so it's a pretty good quality. You can kind of see it on the edge here.
Yeah.
What I mean by
Yeah, yeah.
2-ply, you see there's 2
Yep.
rows, and it's low friction surface on the bottom.
Yeah.
On a big commercial unit, you know, where you have a lot of runtime, like we're seeing 4,000 or 5,000 hours before the belt's really up.
Oh, that's 2 years easily.
Yeah.
They run all day.
So sometimes, you know, yeah, you'll mess up and you'll rip the belt, but you can see our splice here.
Sure.
We can send you a splice kit. We always sell the conveyors with the maximum amount of belt possible, so you can splice it 2 or 3 times and just shrink the rollers together before you run the belt.
Sure.
So,
nice.
I prefer belt. You know, chain, there's an advantage if you're doing a lot of work in the wintertime. The chain will probably pull better, but this is quieter. The conveyors don't beat themselves to pieces.
Conveyors are noisy, 100%.
Yeah, except for a belt conveyor. They're quiet as can be.
I know. Conveyors, chain ones are, and they're more, I've noticed that. So do you run kind of the same hydraulic motors there and all your other spots, or is it real similar?
Those are 125cc hydraulic motors on your drive there and up on the conveyor.
So same motor.
Same motor.
Yep,
and
nice.
then, we got some pressure gauges here. These are really, you know, you don't need them to operate. They're more diagnostics, you know, down the road, everything's going to need a little maintenance. We put them in there so you can see this is your bar down pressure, and then this is your, you know, your split pressure and your saw motor pressure.
Sure. And then your oiler, is that just like a needle valve? What is it?
Yeah, that's controls. Like right now, you know, pretty warm out, so I've got it almost turned off. In the wintertime, you can open it up and it'll flow more. The oiler comes on automatically, so it's only oiling when the saw motor's on. It's got a switch in the back.
And how do you like to run yours? Just so you see a drip occasionally? That's kind of what I tend to do. Just make sure there's something there.
Yeah,
but not pouring out either.
I'd say right now I'm running it heavier than I should have. I didn't notice that.
You see the spray when you get the sun. You'll see it. If you see the spray, it means you see oil.
You're good. Yeah.
But you don't want to be breathing that all day. I found out.
Yeah, it's not
good for you.
Yeah. So
that's why I like to have the wind going that way.
Yeah.
And the sawdust that way too. Very cool. So you guys are obviously. This is the first one. You're working the bugs out. When are you going to be ready to run production?
Right now, they're on the schedule for the end of September for the first batch. We're going to be building about 8 of them, and so probably by early October.
So you're going to build 8, whether you got 8 orders or not, because you know you're going to move them. So you want to have inventory.
Yeah.
That's the challenge for everybody that I've talked to at the show. Everybody, they're all like, we can't build them fast enough because people want it today, and they don't realize this stuff doesn't just come out in a Cracker Jack box every day. I mean, you got to actually build it.
Well, one
and then
thing
there's parts you got to source, and
with the design, we minimize how many pieces are on this machine to make them easy to build. It's not that much more complex than a splitter at the end of the day. So we've really designed it for manufacturing.
You know, and that's the thing that I've asked a lot of guys about, and we've talked about, is that there are a lot of commercial splitters, just splitters, that are the high-end ones that have elevators and have the lifts and have all the bells and whistles that are 30,000.
Yep. Yeah, no, you can get right
there. And this does everything. So to me, why would a guy spend 25, 30, 35,000 on a splitter when you can buy this and it does everything? I
guess I can answer that for you though, because this one limitation on this, and we did a kind of a neat thing to mitigate it, but 18-inch, that's all you can cut. So if you're a tree service, you're getting some bigger wood.
Right.
That's kind of where the big commercial splitters.
Well, I always say though, when it comes to splitters, more is the right answer, just like wood and chainsaws. But with splitters, I feel if you really want to run a real efficient, really clean operation, a real fast, small mobile splitter to go to where the wood is in the woods or wherever you're going to do it, and then a good heavy duty one, whether it's a vertical or a big powerful machine with a lift to do your tree service stuff.
Yeah, to bust
it's good to have both. A lot of times you got an extra hand. You're better off instead of having 2 guys run one machine, each guy run a machine. You actually get more done. I've done it. So 2 machines is the answer. That's what you want to hear.
Oh, that's great. Maybe 3, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. And thanks very much. That was just awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So, Matt, and it is Timberwolf Pro LP. There it is. That's all I got for today, folks. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. Good night, Irene. There you go. You got a video.
Hey, great.
13
Appreciate
minutes.
that.
And I'll put the run stuff in there too.